Interesting, and we cannot, replicate it on air. So make sure you're watching, so you see on and off the scene.
Yes, but we promise you good behavior all through.
We can't promise. I can't promise you.
I can't do. I was not there. Hold only Valentine to it.
Wow. Okay. Throw me under the bus then. Nigerian stars Odion Igalo and John Obi Mikel are retiring from international football. He had discussed this decision with the coach before the third place match, saying that the constant abuse was taking a toll on his young family, but he was advised to keep it under wraps for the moment. And he has been very strong for us, and it is sad that he wants to continue, that he wants not to continue, doesn't want to continue. But the door always is open for him and anytime, and that's what Ross says. Nigerian captain Mikel, meanwhile, announced his international retirement on his Instagram page. The statement read, "Egypt is a country where I've started and I've finished my national career. And my national career started in 2003 under 17 World Cup, and I'm grateful for the national team for placing me on the world arena and giving me an opportunity to show my skill and have an incredible national and international career."
Yes. Really, at this time, experience leaving the Nigerian team, and I know a lot of people say, yes, we have the talent to go, but as this Nations Cup has shown, the talent is not enough. It's not the only thing you need. Yeah. For Dion Igalo, it's the reasons for him leaving that is very hurtful and painful. It's the abuse, the constant abuse on social media for one miss at the World Cup, or for not getting a chance, for not scoring more, maybe against Algeria or something else. Is that constant questioning of your expertise and your effort and your commitment that for me is very hurtful, because he has yes, he's a footballer, yes, he's played to play, and yes, they do give him winning match bonuses and all that in Nigeria, but ultimately he's still doing a country proud at the end of the day. So I think it's the for me, it's so painful that that's what he remembers the most, and that's what is pushing him out. Not that he doesn't feel like he can give more, but that he can't take the abuse anymore. So I'd rather just step aside. And I think it's about the same thing that made Mikel to leave, because I think if you ask Mikel honestly, if you gave him the opportunity, he'd stay a little longer. But throughout this tournament, people have been talking about how slow he is, why did they take Mikel, this and that, and he hears all those things. Those things get back to them,
because
and it's very
human.
it's very hurtful and painful. So he's saying, okay, I'm old, I'm retiring.
I'm surprised. Honestly, I saw him after the match. I'm like, this boy is not old.
You can tell that the truth it is that he's a little older, no doubt.
How
and he's 32. He's a little older, and yes, the game is a little faster than he is right now. But is there still room for his experience? Yes. Is there still a role that he can play in the national team, especially during qualifiers? Maybe before the next tournament, he can say, you know what, I've helped the country qualify, I'm not going. But he can help. But the thing is, he knows he's older, and the fact that you guys have been insulting him for it as if old age is a curse. He tries to pack it. So for me, it's the undertone of why they are retiring that is hurtful. Yes. That they are hurt by all the insults and abuses they get. That's why they are retiring, much more so that even that they are getting to the tail end of their career. So I'm sad, but I'm very happy for them. I mean, congratulations to them. They did a whole lot for the country. Mikel especially has had a globally successful career, whether you look at it from club or for country. So congratulations to both of them on winning the bronze medal and Nigeria winning the bronze medal.
Is there ever a way to prune the hateful comments on social media?
There's no way. You can't tell fans how to feel.
Or do you think that they don't have a tough enough skin for the game?
No, you can't tell fans how to feel.
Or do you think the money is not enough for the insult?
No, but there's no such thing as a tough enough skin for it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how tough your skin is. If the news constantly gets back to you, you will feel it eventually.
Sorry, I'm picking on this because Odion Ighodalo, in my opinion, played really well in this tournament. And he's better than a lot of people. But any slight mistake, the way they would come down on him like
because they remember the World Cup.
Oh,
see, heartbreak is hard to overcome. A lot of fans are heartbroken. I'm going to say I'm trying to balance the two here. The fans have every right to feel the way they feel. You can't stop them from feeling that. You may try to tell them to temper the way they express it, but you can't determine how people feel. On the other hand, as I'm also looking at the footballers' emotions and all. These kind of things affect them. Is there a way they can block it out? Yes, to an extent they can block it, but even the news cycle will report that the people are saying. because it's still content.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this kind of things still reach them. So I don't know that there's a balance. I think when you really can't take it, and they are, like I said, they're towards the tail end of their career. They don't need this drama in their life.
They can't go. Tega, you of all people can relate to this because Rafael Nadal.
No, Roger Federer.
Roger Federer, sorry.
Stop on his toes.
The rivalry between both of them is deep.
The love between both of us is deep.
Talking about stepping out. Now, some people chose to retire voluntarily. Some people are being retired. Well, Pinnick impeached as CAF first vice president. So, president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Mr. Amaju Pinnick, has been impeached as first vice president of the Confederation of African Football. His removal took place on Thursday at CAF Executive Committee meeting after a well-attended congress in Cairo, Egypt. Now, it will be recalled that Pinnick was elevated to the position after the corruption case was brought against former Ghana FA president and CAF first vice president Kwesi Nyatta-Kay.
Okay, so this story, let there be some clarification. So usually once your tenure runs out, the president will come out and say, okay, I'm proposing this person as my vice again, or I'm keeping my whole ESCO team. The president didn't do that. Now, there are questions that there were politics being played all around. And I think when Ahmad was arrested in France, I think he felt like Amaju Pinnick was a bit too forward in trying to claim his throne. So he doesn't feel that loyalty. And there's also a letter that hasn't been released to public yet, but it was a letter that showed the falling out of Amaju and Ahmad, where Amaju wrote to Ahmad and was addressing certain issues and saying that they need to be dealt with, and Ahmad is not dealing with him well. Some would say that to a certain extent, the tone of the letter had some insubordination in it, and so Ahmad did not propose Amaju Pinnick as his first vice president again, and Amaju Pinnick honorably accepted. So it's not like he was sacked per se, but his time was up, and usually it will be renewed, but it wasn't. So he's leaving, and most of it wasn't exactly impeached, but it was a political impeachment. So it was a political outstar. Yeah. So he has been set aside from the ESCO, but there's so much, and then FIFA was overseeing this because remember, FIFA is now in charge of CAF because of all the corruption cases that have been leveled against them. So at the end of the day, would you call it Amaju Pinnick may be looking at this like it's a bad thing now, or a lot of people will look at it like it's a bad thing now, but I think that there is a storm coming with all the corruption charges, and maybe Amaju Pinnick is just trying to get away as far away from it as possible. Yeah, because the storm is going to really sweep. They can't. The cases where he paid for something in one country, but he was in another country. Ahmad has to explain that. The missing money, Ahmad has to explain that. The misappropriation of funds, he has to explain all those things. The contract signed that it states different amounts, he has to explain all those things. And so maybe Amaju Pinnick is just running away from the storm before it really hits. And that's one way to look at it. But what it is that he's been taken out, and it looks like CAF is now French again. With Amaju Pinnick, it used to be that there were some English-speaking representatives at the top part of CAF and had some little decision to make that would favor Anglophone countries in Africa. But CAF has become French again. Same thing under Issa Hayatou. We struggle. The struggle returns to number one.
So do you think, like, we were hoping as Nigerians that we would finally see a Nigerian take on the helms of affairs as president of CAF? How possible is it for Amaju Pinnick to stage a comeback?
Right now, he's too far away from the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
But so what's the name of the boy, the cripple in Game of Thrones that couldn't?
Really?
Yeah, he was far away from the Iron Throne too. But you see, so you see what I'm saying.
So you never can tell.
So you never can tell.
Let's watch. Now, Tiger Woods did not try to mask the fiscal issues that plagued him during the first round of the Open at the Royal Portrush on Thursday, giving a grim assessment of a situation that's appearing to be more the norm these days than at any time since he returned to competitive golf last year. In his words, I'm just not moving as well as I like. Woods, we recall, had a spinal fusion surgery in April of 2017, and he continues in a statement, and unfortunately, you've got to be able to move, and especially under these conditions, shape the golf ball, and I didn't do it. I didn't shape the golf ball at all. Everything was left to right and wasn't hitting it very solidly.
Yeah, so this is scary. Because he did mention that some further time and a lot of the procedures he's had over the years is beginning to affect him. So that means the back is back. And that's not good news. The back issues have come back, and that's not good news. And in as much as he said before the tournament started that he's reducing the amount of tournaments he's going to be featuring, be participating in, so that he will have some longevity in this career. It seems that even with the reduced schedule, he's still struggling with his fitness. So it's not like Rory McIlroy that had a bad day, just hitting rashly, cracking people's screens and hitting into the bush. It's not that his game is off, it's that physically he's not even 100%. So that's even scary, and that's worrying. You saw him win the Masters and there was hope, and now this kind of news takes it back to where he was struggling with all those physical problems. I don't know I don't know how to tell him to come back from it because I've never had one. But if there's anybody that knows about comebacks and about rejuvenation of either career or your body, it's Tiger Woods. So let's just trust and hope that today will be a better day.
Let's just see. That man is full of wonders.
I'm telling you. So,
let's take a break while we think about that. We'll be back to take your messages. This is the Locker Room on Smooth 98.1.
So we'll take some of the messages.
We have comments.
So we're not taking the cycling story.
Okay.
We'll go straight to we'll go straight to
We'll go straight to Cisse.
Yeah, to the AFCON final.
Aliou Cisse?
Yeah. He cried in 2002. I'm thinking he may cry again.
I think so too.
He cried as a player. Today he may cry as a coach. But all is crying.
I think he will cry.
But I don't want him to cry as a coach. But at least Jamel won as a player in 1990.
Yeah.
Let Aliou Cisse win as a coach in 2019. People should pray for him.
Let him win.
Let him win.
I want to watch it. And in my church, they are showing it tonight.
We're back.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Join us on YouTube as we're streaming live on Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Please subscribe and send in messages through WhatsApp 0809 444 981.
First one here from Yemisi from Chicago says the Super Eagles did a good job to clinch the third place on Wednesday, but it was not a clinical effort to write home or celebrate. The chief problem was with our boys is that they don't set their own standards, but always play a game relative to the opponent's modus operandi. Anyhow, I give kudos to Algeria, who seem to be invisible at the tournament and will obviously make minced beef of Senegal invariably. Wishing them the very best of luck. Respect to Obi Mikel for bowing out when the ovation is loudest.
Do you mean invincible?
Yeah, invincible. Yeah, invincible. All right, Ike from Navy Town says, I think Amaju Pinnick really tried as the vice president of CAF. Whether he was sacked or not, it will be on record that it was under his regime that the AFCON was expanded. Maybe he tried to fight corruption, and as we say in Nigeria, corruption fought back.
I beg, it was not under his regime, it was under Ahmad. They know who is president. He's only the president that they know.
Muiwaf on WhatsApp says, I'm a bit sad that Mikel chose this reason to retire. He chose to focus on the negatives rather than the positives. Is there any player on earth who's not abused?
That's Odeon,
Football is a passionate sport, yes, and fans can be a bit unreasonable. We want our players to win everything. Ask the English players, ask Messi and Ronaldo. I wish him well though, but he should focus on the positives. It's better for him.
You see this subtle judgment that you're passing. It's things like this that used to make people to be upset. It's part of the problem.
No, but me, I'm still of the opinion that they did not pay him enough money to take the insult.
No.
Anyways, from his class,
money doesn't seem to be his issue.
Val, no. If you're earning,
money is no longer what I mean. Money is no longer his issue. He has made a lot of money. He has won all the accolades. So in his, why am I still? Do you understand? Why am am I still taking? It's like you've made a lot of money, you bought yourself a car. Why am I still riding your car? That's the question you ask yourself. That's literally what it's asking yourself. Why am I still here?
All right. So Zizi Classic says, first of all, I want to congratulate Super Eagles for being the only team that went to Egypt without a goalkeeper yet came out third place. As for those retiring, I want to say happy retirement to them and best of luck in their new career as well. I hope Akpeyi will join them too.
See, people like you. We are looking at you. We are looking at you.
I'm so sorry. All right, let's talk about the finals happening tonight. Okay. So Cisse says we can better 2002. Senegal manager Aliou Cisse was the country's captain when they were Africa Cup of Nations runners-up in 2002, losing on penalties to Cameroon during a home tournament, and is hoping the team can do one better. This is what he said. There is a pride at getting to the final. It had been 17 years since we got this far, since my generation in 2002. So can he take back what was taken from him?
This year, he's looking very painful. It looks like, you know how they say the thing that you did before, you do it better the second time. It looks like he's going to cry better the second time. I mean, considering the way Algeria has been playing, who was that from? Let me see, from Chicago, saying that Algeria has been invincible this tournament. When they've played games like the one against Tanzania where they were free flowing and all, they've scored lots of goals. And when it was games that it was tight, like the one against the Super Eagles that it took literally a last-minute free kick from Riyad Mahrez to win, they've known how to manage the game. There were moments in that game, especially in the second half, where the Super Eagles were dominant and were more aggressive and looked more likely to score a goal, and they did eventually score a penalty. But the Algerians still didn't look like they were totally on the back foot. They looked like any break and they could score a goal. So they know how to manage. They're the team, like I said, when they played against Senegal in the group stage, they look like a team with tournament experience. They've learned how to manage the game, how to manage their players. They know their strengths, their weaknesses, and they know how to keep at it. So they look like the team that is going to win. And so it looks like, Aliou Cisse may cry again, this time as a coach. That time he cried as a player, but this time he may cry as a coach. But what it is that at the end of the day, it comes down to what you do on the day. So Algeria may have been the better team all through the tournament, and then on the final day, they drank the wrong bottle of water and will not deliver. So there's still a chance for Senegal to win. They have the pace, they have players in different areas of the pitch. They have the skill. What remains to be seen is if their big name players will stand up, especially Sadio Mane for Senegal. If he would step up. I don't understand. Again, if it comes down to penalties, will he even score his own penalty? Considering the fact that he's made several. so you're looking at the big name players now. It may come down to the quality of the big name players. For Algeria, Riyad Mahrez has delivered not just once but twice. For the Algerians. On the Senegalese side, Sadio Mane has delivered maybe once, but it is more consistent with Riyad Mahrez. In this final game, it may come down to both players and who would you stake your money from. I'm not a betting man, thankfully, but whoever wins will join the person to celebrate.
All right, it's always fun to watch a final when you're not in it.
Actually, no, it's the best now.
No
apprehension, nothing. It's just that ease. Well, Barcelona have made a £90 million offer plus 2 players for Paris Saint-Germain for Neymar. Now, the La Liga club has given PSG a list of 6 players that could be included in the deal, including Philippe Coutinho, Ousmane Dembele, Ivan Rakitic, Nelson Semedo, Malcolm and Samuel Umtiti. It is understood that a French club wants over £200 million for the 27-year-old.
Yeah, but that's about how much he costs. If Barcelona remembers how much he collected, he cost over 200. If you ask me, I would say give my 200 million euros. I don't want your players because they literally gave them half their team, like all their wives and girlfriends. That's what they give. Okay, so think Ivan Rakitic, Samuel Umtiti, Nelson Semedo, Malcolm, Coutinho, Dembele. They've given half. They're saying of all these players, pick your choice. If I'm PSG, I say I want Messi. I don't want any of these players. Keep them. I want Messi. Give me my 200 million euros. But what it is that Barcelona is doing all that they can to try and get Neymar to join the team. And I don't know why they are really trying so hard for a forward player. I think the forward team they have is good. If they can get Messi, yes, but not to offer all these players, because what if at the end of the day they take two, the ones that are left will always look at themselves as replaceable. So it's not morale boosting for those players. It's not team building, and then you don't even have a coach that can unite the team or motivate the team. It's Valverde that is Ernesto Valverde that is your coach. So emotionally he doesn't really have much to inspire. And then you now do this to your team. How do you build them back? Which is why I say this president is the worst president of any kind of president of the Beggars Association, president of the Truck Pushers Association, president of Schoolboys Association. He's the worst president of any kind of president. But it's their club and it's their money. So let's see how it works out for them.
All right. Okay. So Isaiah Ayodele says on YouTube, you guys are doing a great job dishing out the best of sports news. Algeria is just too organized to lose to Senegal. Then Soga Michael says this is a final and I believe Senegal will shock them this time.
Shock us club.
All right. Okay, let's talk about what's happening with Crystal Palace and Arsenal. So Wilfred Zaha tells Crystal Palace he wants to leave amid Arsenal interest. And Wilfred has told Crystal Palace he wants to leave. And Eagles boss Roy Hodgson made it clear earlier this week a deal with Arsenal for Zaha is a long way off. So he said, I don't think Arsenal have actually made a bid that has come anywhere near our valuation.
Yes, so they've evaluated the player at 80 million, and so far Arsenal has only offered 40. Cheapskates.
Can we talk about Arsenal?
But you see, if you ask me, is Zaha an 80 million pound player?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Or is he a potential 80 million?
No, he's over that hill of potential. I don't like people saying somebody has potential when they're 27. No, if you're 18 in football, by the time you're 25 or 26, that's when you're supposed to be at your peak. Except of course you're an African player with your football age, then anytime can be your peak. But most in general, your peak age is usually around that time. Once you get to 27, we pretty much know what you can do or what you're capable of. So you are no longer potential. If you get what I mean, at best you may have 1 season of good form and then the rest is return to status quo. So I don't, he's not an 80 million pound player for me. If you ask me, he's not. But this is football as it is now. You can buy 100 naira crayfish for 1,000 naira. Unfortunately so. And that's where the problem is. The kind of money that is moving around in transfer market has made players being overvalued based on hype or media coverage or social media or whatever it is. And that's the sad part. And Arsenal does not, honestly, if you ask me, shouldn't be investing that kind of money in Wilfred Zaha. But again, like I said, it's their money. It's their club. We wait to see how this transpires.
I think going to spend that money. Let me know.
I think Zaha may end up staying in Crystal Palace. That would pain him.
Bring down the money, or he will.
He will have to, because 40 million, 80 million is a lot.
We need to go on a break. This is the Locker Room on Smooth 98.1.
I'm glad we took that story because now we can come back and just read news. And read comments, sorry.
80 million. Yay, to 40 million.
Look, I need a simple plan.
People ask me so they can make somebody depressed. How can you value yourself by 80? And I say, I beg, I want 40.
I forgot to the time when they said, when they told them that Luis Suarez cost more than 40 million.
Yeah.
I said, Vega bid 40 million and won. 40 million and won. How do you understand? How do you
I don't think if you want to check your valuation as a player, you want to feel good about yourself, don't let Arsenal buy you. They won't even toast you at all, Mr. Charles.
Correct. Now,
Morning, Mr. Charles. Sorry, I'm on air at the moment. I'll send it to you today. Apologies for the delay.
Entertainment. You're right. Well, the perfect answer is, wait for it, LG Wireless Soundbar. The perfect match. Powerful and wireless TV speaker. Get the best out of your movies, football matches, and more with an exciting TV speaker. LG Wireless Soundbar.
Yes, raise the bar and connect your TV to LG Wireless Soundbar via Bluetooth for that stunning sound atmosphere for movies and great football moments. Come alive with its surround system and high-resolution sound for the perfect cinematic audio experience. LG Wireless Soundbar. Give your TV the best sound quality.
Visit any LG showroom near you today and raise the bar with LG Wireless Soundbar. LG.
Life is good. Buy a Samsung Galaxy S10, S10e, or S10 Plus, and the new discount discounted price and get a free LED view cover. Also, when you buy a Samsung Galaxy A30 or A50 this season, you get a free back cover. Promo runs from the 24th of June to 28th July 2019. For more information, call 0800 Samsung or visit Samsung.com. Offer valid while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, my name is Dakori, and I'm going to tell you about your favorite Milo Ready to Drink. Milo Ready to Drink is made from the natural goodness of milk, malt, and cocoa, and fortified with essential vitamins and minerals, so I can now pack the winning energy of Milo into my children's lunchboxes. So moms, what are you waiting for? Make sure your child is always ready to win every day with Milo Ready to Drink.
Milo, the energy food drink of future champions.
This is how you listen to music with data. And this is how you listen
I was
to
like, what's
music
going on?
with more Blaze.
Know the difference. Step up to a quality connection that always delivers, because it's more than just data. It's more Blaze. Dial *200 *3 *1# to get started.
Time Mobile. Here for you. Here for Naija.
So tell me, Junior, what is the difference between your Indomie and any other meal?
The taste, yes! Taste is the difference. The difference is the taste.
That's my boy. Now go and buy me our delicious Indomie noodles.
Caring mothers trust Indomie noodles to provide tasty nutrition for their families.
Indomie Super Pack now available at 85 Naira. Indomie noodles. Tasty nutrition, good for you.
The healthcare sector is at a tipping point of great transformation. Join industry experts like Dr. Ketu Adenusi, Njide Ndele, and Claire Omatseye at the 2019 Healthcare Nigeria Conference. Theme is Healthcare in Nigeria Transformative Solutions. Date, July 11th, 2019. Venue, Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island. Time, 8 a.m. Sponsored by Fan Access Foundation, ARM Live, Flutterwave, and Old Mutual. Media partner, Rhythm FM. This conference is powered by IJA HMO.
Love music. Love life.
How about studio? Glad to know you're tuned in to Smooth 98.1. We're talking sports inside of the locker room. Here to round up with the messages.
Yes, first one here from Twitter. Charles Chidozie says the last Nigerian who had an ambition of the CAF presidency was slapped with a long-term ban. Then it was Amodu, now it's Amaju. We're probably not as influential on the continent as we'd always thought.
Wow. All right, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for your messages. Those who tuned in through YouTube, those who sent messages on WhatsApp, we appreciate every single one of you. And thank you to Tega. Join her as she explores how ladies can be more involved and the activities in sports better recognized through at LIS International. You should also engage Tega on Twitter. She's really excited. Tega Supreme. All right. Next, we have a fun conversation lined up for 9.
Yes, something interesting. Can you guess? Send us a message if you can guess what we're going to be talking about this morning.
Did you have a price?
Yes.
I was giving away. Okay.
What was I going to give away?
I thought you were going to give away a phone, something.
A phone. That's good. We'll start with the recharge card by the time we progress.
Okay. Join us at 9. Good morning.
Phone call.
Tivini.
Leave